Good morning. It is time for Tina Book Tuesday, episode 157 with author Lisa Prysock. I'm coming to you from my dining room here in beautiful Kentucky. I hope you have some tea or something that you enjoy to drink and a few minutes to chat with me. So y'all know how much I love history, and I have discovered some history from the small town of Crestwood where I live. And this is a small rural Kentucky town, and it's beautiful and charming and quaint, which is all part of why we moved here. It was originally founded by Joseph Beard, a descendant of a Scottish family, in 1839, and he settled here at Waldeck Farm, originally purchasing 263 acres. He acquired large tracts of land as the years went on, and Waldeck Farm is now a wedding venue that has a huge mansion in the countryside on it. The whole area is beautiful. There are hardwood forests still around the area and lots of green, lush land and houses with charming front porches and four-board fences, which is very common in Kentucky. Crestwood was originally known as Beard Station during the early days, and by 1850, railroads began coming to the area, extending from Louisville to Frankfort. So they would cross through this whole area. Joseph Beard, the founder of the area, originally had 8 children and 20 slave workers, according to the 1850 census. At that time, the Waldeck Farm was called Woodland for those vast forests that I mentioned. And twice a week, before the railroads really were here, a stagecoach line owned by Samuel Grimes made a 52-mile round trip from Beard Station, which is what this was originally called instead of Crestwood, all the way into Louisville and back again. Eventually, Joseph Beard, the founder, donated land for the railroad, and he built a warehouse along the rail line. When the Louisville and Nashville Railroad consolidated some of the smaller lines in 1881, they built a newer depot in 1882, and it had a stock pen and a ramp for loading sheep and cattle, and then they would be boarded onto the train and taken into the Bourbon Stockyards in Louisville. And that was actually the name of it, the Bourbon Stockyards. People from the city of Louisville, though, would love to come out to this area because a Methodist campground called Camp Kavanaugh existed here. And the campground had cottages, the McCoy Chapel, a large dining hall, 2 dorms, and an open tabernacle. Much of that is still here, and it's the venue where my daughter was married. And by 1869 and the, I would say 1850s, the town had acquired a post office, 3 distilleries, several livery stables, a horse farm, a creamery, several grocery stores, a meat market, there's still one here, and a bank. So that was all really cool. And the businesses were all thriving. 3 threshers existed in the area until the late 1800s. So any of the farms that needed to use the thresher, the farmers would get together and help each other. In 1909, there was a name change to Crestwood. Some people say it's because the town lies on a ridge, and other people say it's because they had shortened the name Beard Station to Beard, and some people were starting to call the town Whiskers, and so some people say Crestwood, the name of the town, came about because they wanted to avoid the town being referred to as Whiskers. In 1888, the Waldeck Mansion was built, and I believe that all that farmland owned by Joseph Beer was acquired by Carl Jungbluth. And he built an 8,500 square foot mansion, which took about 5 years to build. He was a German businessman and gentleman farmer. So that's how the Waldeck Mansion came to be. And it's still here to this day. As I said before, it's a beautiful wedding venue in the area. And then according to town elders, if a drop of water landed on one side of the railroad track, it would go to Curry's Fork and Floyd's Fork. And if it landed on the other side, it would go to Harrod's Creek. By 1917, we had a civic club, and they helped raise funds for a warning bell at the Louisville and Nashville crossing for the railroads. In 1918, they helped raise funds to install lights at the school. And in 1920, a walkway was built to the school. And in 1927, they helped the town raise money to receive streetlights. Until 1960, the whole area remained mainly a farming community, and they did acquire a high school by 1953. Post-World War II, the town became known for its production of orchard grass seed. They even had a festival promoted by the Lions Club, and nowadays we have so much more. There's even a botanical garden here, a number of restaurants, 3 elementary schools, churches, and many, many other small businesses in the area. And so I hope you've enjoyed this little bit about the history of Crestwood, and thanks for joining me today. Give me a shout out if you enjoyed this video. I'd love to hear from you, or just say hello.